mayor's hotline. What else would you expect?
Right. The mayor's job is to be very simple at times, like make sure the trash gets picked up.
Potholes.
And fix potholes. Yeah. Other than that, knock yourself out. If you want to grow infrastructure, if you want to bring in businesses and conventions, hey, that's great. If you want to go to rehab, fantastic. But your main job is supposed to be making sure everybody's trash gets picked up and making sure the potholes in the roads are fixed. That's the bare essentials of being a mayor. But I live in Indianapolis, and I've got Boss Hogsett, so here I am on hold with this dramatic music on the Mayor's Action Hotline. I called at 3:55 when we went into break, and here it is, 4:16, and I'm still listening to this crap.
Could we put it on mute by the time the chief calls in, though? That might be a little...
No deal.
Disrespectful.
Hey, you want to cave on your trash pickup. I'm not going out like that. Matt Bear standing by in the WIBC Traffic Center. Matt?
All right, guys. Northeast side crash, Benford Boulevard at 46th Street. Northbound 465 still slow on the east side from Penn Pike up to Fall Creek because of a crash on the right shoulder. And then southbound 65 up in the Boone, slow from Whitestown Parkway down to 865 the Dogleg. Southbound 65 70 downtown jam. North split to the south split delayed 8 minutes. And eastbound 70 stop and go from the west side after Harding Street into the south split. Traffic sponsored by Allstate. Some people just know you could save money on car insurance by checking Allstate first. So what are you waiting for? Check Allstate first for a quote today. You're in good hands with Allstate. I'm Matt Bear. Follow us for instant traffic updates at WIBC Traffic.
I've got an update here for you.
Oh, please.
Somebody named Till wrote us, Hammer and Nigel at WIBC.com. Sometimes much, much easier to get us to respond than even social media. Till says, this has been happening over here at McFarland Road. They don't answer the phone at this time of day. Thanks.
Well, the information on the website says they do. Like, this is supposed to be the mayor's action hotline. Well, I've got action, and I want to talk to the mayor. And all I get is this crappy instrumental music because Captain Rehab is over there, probably passed out on his desk. This sucks. The whole thing sucks. He sucks. 78 at the American Standard Cooling Weather Center. Let me see. Nope, still on hold. It's the Hammer and Nigel Show.
Hey, it's Matt Bear for Trajan Wealth. Would you like peace of mind in your investment portfolio? I sure did. I needed it badly, and that's why I started with the good people at Trajan Wealth. They listened to what I wanted, my hopes and dreams for retirement, and responded with a portfolio customized for me and me only. The process was stress-free, easy even. Give them a call today to schedule a complimentary introduction meeting to learn more. 317-480-4040 or visit TrajanWealth.com. I left my first meeting with Trajan feeling empowered. I mean, they're fiduciaries, so their advice is built around what's best for you. I'm a client now because I saw the difference. Call today and learn more. 317-480-4040 or visit TrajanWealth.com. Remember, your first appointment is on them. 317-480-4040. Advisory services offered through Trajan Wealth, LLC, an SEC registered investment advisor. Paid advertisement.
Indiana summer storms are rolling in, and if you're like me, you're not climbing up on your roof to check for damage. That's why you call Moss Roofing. Family owned. Right here in central Indiana for over 30 years, Moss Roofing gives you something hard to find these days: honest work and peace of mind. They offer free inspections, and I mean a real thorough checkup of your roof, your siding, your gutters, and your windows. If there's storm damage, they'll show you the photos, explain everything clearly and thoroughly, and even work with your insurance company for you. No stress, no pressure, just real professionals doing the job right every single time. Protect your home and avoid bigger problems later. Call Moss Roofing today. 317-747-3665. Tell them Tony Katz sent you. 317-747-3665. Family owned, Moss Roofing. 747-3665 or online at Moss, M-O-S-S, mossroofing.com.
Pat Sullivan here with exciting news from my friends at Hope Plumbing, now known as Hope Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling. Hope now offers plumbing, heating, and air conditioning services, bringing total comfort to your home. No more dealing with multiple home service memberships. For only $8 a month, Hope is now your one stop for safety and maintenance inspections and so much more. Make sure you're prepared for those Indiana summer heat waves with an AC tune-up by calling Hope Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling today at 641-HOPE.
Join Mark Patrick Seminars and lose the weight guaranteed. Early bird special only $49.99. Hypnosis to destroy unwanted cravings. Also, stop smoking with Mark Patrick. Destroy your desire to smoke without cravings, irritability, weight gain, or your money back. Seminars July 31st at the Holiday Inn Express and Suites in Noblesville. Weight loss seminar 5:30 p.m. Stop smoking seminar 8 p.m. And Saturday, August 2nd at the Holiday Inn Indianapolis Airport. Weight loss seminar 11 a.m. Stop smoking seminar 2 p.m. Register at markpatrickseminars.com.
Oh no, stomach issues again?
Stomach issues?
Who are you?
Your pancreas. I could be the real reason for your diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, or loose oily stools.
I thought it was my stomach.
People often do, but any of these symptoms could mean having a condition called exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, or EPI. With EPI, the pancreas doesn't release enough enzymes to break down food, but EPI is manageable. Use the symptom checker on identifyepi.com and speak with your doctor. That's identifyepi.com. Sponsored by AbbVie.
Fill your tank. Don't drain your wallet. Sam's Club lets you save time at the pump with Scan and Go checkout at Sam's Club fuel stations. Just scan the QR code on the pump and pay. Visit your local Sam's Club today.
Hammer and Nigel presents
It depends upon what the meaning of the word is.
Is this anything?
All right, let's rock and roll.
Brought to you by Indiana Unclaimed, presented by the Attorney General's Office here in Indiana. They are reuniting Hoosiers with over $1 million in unclaimed property every single week. Fast, easy, and free to search at indianaunclaimed.gov.
Is this anything? Joey Chestnut, friend of the show and damn fine American, made his triumphant return to the Nathan's hot dog eating contest at Coney Island on the 4th of July. And our guy, George Shea, who we've had in studio before, gave one of the greatest introductions in the history of sport.
Formed from the shards of shattered angels, wielding the white sword of righteousness. He will never fail or falter, for he defies the ministers of our fate and the limitations of our birth. And he will not stop until he stands side by side with the gods. His glory is strung like beads of light to adorn the arc of history itself. Joey Chestnut!
How are you not ready to run through a brick wall on that, Nige?
Man, I was so fired up. I was on my way to Lindsay's cousin's house for a pool party, and we were running late. And I had to call her husband, Dave, hit record. Get this on. We're going to be late. Like, don't watch it without me, okay? Don't watch it without me. So I was a little late to the party getting there, and I was glad to see Joey he just cleaned everybody else's clock. I mean, for God's sake.
70.5 hot dogs is what he officially ended up with. And that was the betting line, by the way, on FanDuel.
Oh, wait.
70.5.
Wait.
Hi, Colleen. This is Jason Hammer. I'm on the radio right now on 93.1 WIBC in Indianapolis, and so are you. I was just wondering if our trash was going to get picked up because it's been about 2 weeks.
What's the address?
The address is on the southwest side of town.
You can't give his address out on the air.
Actually, hold on one second. Nigel, talk while I get my address.
One of my favorite, by the way, I think it's his nickname, the Master of Mastication. Joey Chestnut. What does mastication mean?
I don't know if you can say it on air.
Mastication means like you're chewing. So my favorite, I think that's his new nickname, by the way, Joey Chestnut winning huge on the hot dog eating championship. I think that was his nickname, Master of Mastication.
Do you think someone brought this up the other day. Do you think it's interesting how they can take the hot dog and the bun separately? Do you think they should have to eat the whole hot dog?
No, it's up to them. I mean, some people have different strategies. Joey's is he shoves the hot dog down his mouth and then he dips the bun in the water to make it easier to go down.
Do you think that's cheating, though?
No. I mean,
Do you
as
think
long
they
as
should have to try it with a full hot dog?
As long as he ingests the hot dog and the bun, that's it. It doesn't matter how they do it. Meanwhile, here is the final tally on his 17th hot dog eating championship.
70.5 hot dogs and buns in 10 minutes. The Nathan's Famous 4th of July champion of the world, Joey Chestnut. How do you feel?
I was excited. I love being here. Man, I wish I had ate a couple more. I'm sorry, guys. I'll be back next year.
He's always so hard on himself.
Yeah, I missed him last year. The ratings were down last year. I didn't even watch it last year, and I was so fired up to watch it this year. It's been part of everybody's tradition there at the cookouts.
Yeah.
Hammer's still in the corner of the studio talking about
his trash pickup.
His trash pickup. Nobody's picked up his trash in 2 weeks.
Okay. Is that your wife?
Yes. Yes.
Crystal, okay. So that was already put in. So
Right.
we already know about that.
They knew about it 2
on
weeks
Sunday,
ago.
There was nobody working then. It's in the works today. And your Crystal should have gotten a case number, and you need to give that a couple of days to get an inspector out there and try to get that taken care of.
Okay.
It's the whole street.
Yeah, it's the whole surrounding streets too, like the whole neighborhood, and it's the second time in like a month of this has happened.
Okay. All right.
She said, "Get an inspector out." No, maybe just bring a garbage truck. It doesn't need an inspector.
All right. Generally, when it's a whole area like this, there were some routes. Hold on just a second. We got to notice that there were some routes down.
Down. Like the down power line behind.
Is Joe Hogsett available?
I can give you the number to the mayor's office if you would like.
You know what? I would like. Yes, I would like that number, please.
It is in the works, okay? I can't tell you any more than that. They don't tell us what goes on until afterward, if it was picked up or if it wasn't. Hold on just a second.
She's being very nice.
She is. She's got great customer service skills.
Great customer service.
Fantastic.
Are we going to call the mayor next?
Thank you. All right, so
By the way, when Joey Chestnut comes in here for the shrimp eating contest, like he has the past few years during the Big Ten championship for St. Elmo, I'm out.
Oh.
I'm not doing it. It could be Hammer and
So
Joey.
you're retiring? Is that what you're saying?
I am retired from competing against that.
You were
Because
very half-assing it last time. I was a little worried about you.
I almost puked.
Yes, I would like that. Thank you.
I almost puked.
It's too much.
And I'm embarrassed myself in front of it's like me boxing Mike Tyson.
I think that's why people want to see it, but
That'd be great.
what we can here at this end, okay?
No, I got you. Thank you. I appreciate you. And you're going to transfer me to the mayor's office? Yes, please.
I think we could all have them. You don't have to hide the mayor's office number.
Got it. Thank you.
She's transferring you to the mayor's office?
Yes.
Okay. We're going to get this taken care of.
All right.
Once and for all. No, but it sucks. You've got 2 weeks worth of trash outside your house.
It's okay. I mean, the mayor might not be in. What time does he get back from happy hour?
You know what? I have no idea what his schedule is.
Okay.
You'll most certainly talk to someone else there,
Okay.
Well, we gotta wrap this up.
Okay. Nige, go ahead and take us into break.
Okay, we got the chief, Mayor Chief Bailey. I'm sorry, not the mayor, the IMPD Chief of Police, Chief Chris Bailey, coming up next to talk about some of the violence, the ridiculous violence happening over the weekend. Next here on the Hammer and Nigel Show. Oh, man, the wife and I were out enjoying a cocktail on our custom concrete patio out front last night, and we wouldn't have been able to do that without Indy Decorative Concrete. When it comes to custom concrete, stamped or otherwise, they are the best in the business. I'm telling you, they made the process so easy. See, Indy Decorative Concrete's locally owned. They've been around since 2007. The owners, Mark and Jamie, they run a great custom concrete business, but they're great people as well. Mark came out to the house, gave us a few design options, and then my wife and I went to their showroom, and Jamie helped us pick out the stamped pattern we liked best. Once they got started, they were done in 3 days. Everyone who works for them is a W-2 employee. No subs coming to your house. In fact, if I remember correctly, our project manager was the owner's son-in-law. So whether it's a new patio, a sidewalk, porch, any custom concrete, don't do anything until you've checked out IndyDecorativeConcrete.com. That's IndyDecorativeConcrete.com.
Hey folks, Scott Wilson here from Wilson Farm Market, just 20 minutes north of Carmel. We're proud to bring you the freshest produce farmed right here in Indiana and across the Midwest. And don't miss our home-style fried chicken, scratch-made bakery, and a deli packed with ready-to-go favorites. Got a sweet tooth? Check out a variety of old-fashioned candies, the kind that brings back sweet memories from your childhood. At Wilson Farm Market, we're all about local freshness, friendly faces, and food that feels like home. Wilson Farm Market. That's Wilson Farm Market.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
What will be happening? It's cloudy and 77 on Monument Circle. I'm Jake McDaniel. Here's what's trending at 4:31. Governor Ron DeSantis is confident that Florida will get reimbursed for an estimated $450 million annually, which will cost to run the migrant internment camp in the Everglades. DeSantis says it pays for itself.
When you spend money for this, you save money because you take stress off hospitals, schools, criminal justice, all that. So I don't even want to. Enforcing the law ultimately will save money rather than just let lawlessness take over.
The facility, nicknamed Alligator Alcatraz, is designed to hold thousands of immigrants. President Trump said he sent out letters to other countries letting them know about some new tariff rates that are kicking in early August. Here's Fox's business Grady Trimble.
Over the next 2-3 days, we're expecting between a dozen and 15 letters in total. And they set new tariff rates at anywhere between 25 and 40%. The president posted the letters to each of these countries' leaders to Truth Social, and the White House says that to be transparent, he's going to keep doing that as he sends these letters out. The president says the 25% tariffs, or in some cases 40%, will go into effect on August 1st. So that means the pause on the April 2nd Liberation Day tariffs, that's coming to an end soon unless these countries make a deal.
And Trump says if a country raises their tariffs on U.S. goods, that same increase right on top of the original tariff will be added. A curfew is being implemented to try and stop violence by young kids in Indianapolis.
But there's something Marion County Prosecutor Ryan Mears wants you to know about that. I'm John Herrick.
Well, I mean, the curfew law is not a criminal law. The curfew law just allows IMPD to remove kids from downtown and hopefully have that connection with their parents. And if they don't, then they have to take them to the community justice center.
And since violating curfew is not a crime, Mears says it does not fall under jurisdiction of the prosecutor's office. John Herrick, 93 WIBC Mobile News.
Wall Street is closing. It's time for your WIBC Closing Bell Report. At the closing bell today, the Dow Jones Industrial Average went down by 422 points to 44,406. The S&P 500 shrunk by 49 points to 6,229, and the Nasdaq lost 188 points to 20,412. You're 1 minute away from traffic and weather. It's 4:34.
It's Hammer and Nigel for Window Nation. You've been trying to stay cool during the dog days of summer, but if your windows are old and drafty, that might be hard to do. If the summer heat is seeping into your home and your utility bills keep rising, your windows could be the culprit. Save yourself from another month of discomfort by replacing your windows today with Window Nation. Right now, you can get 50% off all windows, plus 0 interest for 5 whole years. You heard that right. When you choose Window Nation to replace your windows, you won't pay any interest until 2030. Details at windownation.com.
And did I mention they'll get the job done in 1 day or less? Their installation crews have over a decade of experience, so you can feel comfortable knowing your windows are installed right the first time. I don't know about you, but I wouldn't want to procrastinate another day if I found a window company this good. Do not miss out on Window Nation's biggest deal of the year. 50% off all window styles right now. And remember, that comes with zero interest until 2030. 866-90-NATION. That's 866-90-NATION, or visit windownation.com.
WIBC traffic at 4:35. Here's Matt Bear.
Southeast side crash southbound 465 at Brookville Road. The left lane is blocked. Traffic stop and go back to I-74. 4-minute delay. Downtown southbound 65 70 stopped from the north split to the south split, delayed 19 minutes. Southbound 65 slow from 21st to Meridian Bend. At eastbound 70 stop and go Harding to the south split for a 3-minute delay. Crash northeast side Benford Boulevard at 46th Street. Also a crash on the south side. This is Thompson Road at Madison Avenue, and another crash on the south side, Bluff Road north of Thompson. Traffic sponsored by Indy Decorative Concrete. Make summer nights unforgettable with Indy Decorative Concrete. Get 50% off a stunning fire pit with their best stamped concrete patio package. Hurry, offer ends September 1st. Visit IndyDecorativeConcrete.com. I'm Matt Bear. Follow us for instant traffic updates at WIBC Traffic.
And now here's your forecast from the American Standard Cooling Weather Center.
Clouds decreasing tonight with lows in the mid-60s. Tuesday's going to be a hot day with lots of sunshine. Has highs near the 90-degree mark with uncomfortable humidity values. Isolated rain chance by Tuesday night. I'm Wish TV Storm Track 8 meteorologist Stephen Deanna for 93 WIBC.
I'm Jake McDaniel on the level on the go and on WIBC.com.
You're listening to the Hammer and Nigel Show.
Hundreds of unsupervised kids down here. I don't know how many times I have to say it. We are not your children's keepers. You are. And parents and guardians have got to step up. It's unacceptable. The police department all night long went from place to place to place trying to prevent these kind of things. And I gotta be honest, I'm tired of it. You should be tired of it.
My name is Nigel. Jason Hammers right there. That was IMPD Chief Chris Bailey. Over the weekend, 4 teenagers have been charged after a deadly weekend downtown Indy mass shooting. After the 4th of July fireworks, 2 juveniles murdered downtown. We're going to go to the hotline and bring on Chief Bailey. Chief, look, I saw that press conference right after the incident, and we've known you for a long time, and we've known you before you were chief. I watched that press conference, though, and I saw something in you that like, I was like, boy, this guy, you know, I understand you have to keep a modicum of composure being the leader in a high position, but you were pissed off, and I don't blame you. Kind of maybe tell our audience and everybody here what your message was directly after that incident, after the fireworks.
Well, I mean, based on what I had personally experienced all evening with our officers downtown, to be in that position talking about 2 dead kids,
yes,
one of which was just laying on the ground, the concrete sidewalk right behind me. You know, I had reached a point where it's time for, you know, we hear often that we have to speak truth to power. Well, we also have to speak truth to our community who may not understand, may not fully grasp what is occurring, what has been occurring over the last couple weeks, not just with our youth, but with young people and people in general, with an open disregard for the law, authority, decorum, and all the things.
And human life.
Yeah, right. And just no care about sanctity of life or any of that. And it culminated, you know, right there in the heart of downtown. After, you know, I left at 12:30. I felt comfortable knowing there were still issues and we had to get the bars closed, but the crowds had thinned out enough where I felt like, well, you know, I think we could I think they've done a good job, and we'll go get some rest because we're back at it tomorrow morning. I was wrong. It took a little bit longer, and I still don't have the words to describe just how angry I am about it. And we got a lot of work to do. And as frustrated and angry as I am, I'm even more committed, and the officers are committed to go out there and doing what we can, our part, to keep it from happening again.
Chief Jason Hammer here. Since that night of that mass shooting, we've heard from the mayor who wants to crack down on the curfew situation. But just today, the prosecutor, Ryan Mears, comes out and basically says there's not a lot of teeth to this curfew law. It's not like they can just start arresting kids and throwing them into the juvenile detention center. What can be done?
Yeah, I mean, it starts back at home, right? We have to have accountability. We also have at home, but we also have to have a posture from a law enforcement perspective where we're welcoming and we want people to be downtown, regardless of age, if you can behave yourself. But if you step out of that line, then there has to be consequences to that, and we have to enforce the law. So the direction I've given my officers, and it wasn't just after Saturdays, but it was leading up to this, as we could see that these issues were building with the excitement around the playoff run and just more people coming downtown. They couldn't get into bars and restaurants because they were full, whether the Pacers were here or whether they were away. A lot of excitement, a lot of people down in the core ready for a championship win. And it kept building and building that people turned parking lots in the street and Georgia Street and other places into just open party spots. And then you throw in juveniles who, come downtown, who we were following with cameras. In the 4 arrests that were made today, those were arrests throughout the evening of the juveniles we know that had guns. And I know there were a lot more than that down there. It was something I have not seen in a long time in our city, and very, very disheartening. And curfew is challenging. It's not a criminal offense. It's called a status offense. So there's no technical criminal penalty. If you punch somebody, that's a battery, right? And if it causes pain, it's an A misdemeanor. If not, it's a B misdemeanor. And then there are certain criminal penalties that go along with that. How the courts look at that is as a status offense. They will, if you get it into the what we used to call a juvenile center, which is now a youth services center, they will process them like they would. They'll try to call their parents. They'll look at their histories. Are they on probation? Are they on monitoring? And all that. And then if their history is to a level as bad, then the prosecutor can file a delinquent, child charge or something similar to that. But there's not a lot of penalties to it. And I will tell you this. This is why there hasn't been those mass curfew sweeps, is that the youth services center doesn't have the capacity. Their new facility only has 56 beds, and as of this morning when I talked to the judges there, 47 of them were filled with juvenile offenders. So there's no room to do some mass thing. So that's why we're looking with an outside partner to, if we're going to do this mass roundup type thing, that we have a place that we can process them and do all the things we need to do when we take them in our custody.
One of the things you talked about after that late night press conference, we're speaking with IMPD Chief Chris Bailey, is possibly talking to the prosecutor and working with them to hold parents accountable as well. I don't know what that looks like. It seems like a complicated process, but my God, you arrested or not you, but IMPD arrested a 13-year-old.
Yeah.
I mean, I have a 13-year-old boy in my house. I don't understand. And maybe that's the problem. I don't understand what's going on with parents, and how possible do you think it is to hold parents responsible for the actions of their juveniles that come down here and do this?
I think it's going to be difficult. I talked to my staff this morning, and we're going to try to identify cases or a case that we could, at a minimum, do a test run on, look at the history of the individual. Is there other substantiating evidence that the parent would have known they were armed or provided the weapon to them? Did they know they were going downtown with the weapon? Did they know they were going to be out after curfew? Try to build all those facts to show a pattern of neglect in that area. But we may have to, similar to what we did with the dealing causing death statute. We had to go back to the legislature and say, hey, can you give us more wiggle room within this statute or create another one that under certain circumstances it would be possible. Now, is it, the mom who's working late shift and their kid sneaks out of the house and, got a gun from the neighbor or big brother? I mean, I don't know that's worthy of anybody's time and seek justice in that. But as I was talking to one of my colleagues, a police chief in Cincinnati, she said they had a case where they charged the parent. They had the kid's phone, and in the phone, the mother was saying, "Hey, the police are going to be hot and heavy downtown tonight near the Fountain Square in downtown Cincinnati. Make sure you leave your gun at home tonight. Don't get caught with your gun." Right? So she knew that her son was going out with a gun, and they were able to use that to charge her with neglect or whatever the charge is in Ohio. So we're going to look at that and see what we can do and test it, and then obviously work with the prosecutor. He has to be the one that makes the prosecutor's office has to be the one that makes those final decisions.
Chief, I know your staff is a little understaffed, and I'm curious about where you guys were at in terms of recruitment and enrollment, IMPD officers compared to a couple of years ago, because I know you guys were about 100 or 200 officers short. But where were these violence interrupters that are like a taxpayer-funded program that the mayor's office and the city county council have moved forward? Has that program been a success in terms of getting underage people out of downtown and diffusing situations? And where were they on fireworks night?
Well, the interrupter program and the program through the Office of Public Health and Safety is really focused on where the data points us to those individuals that are committing murder, basically, our murder victims and our murder suspects who are well above the age of 18. So that program really is focused on adults and trying to redirect them. And I know that there are some new programs within that office that are focused on teens, and we want to continue to partner with other organizations that are getting money, or people that just want to do the right thing and help our youth to come downtown and help us intervene in these situations. And there's been a couple groups that have stepped up and offered to help us do that. And we're going to lean on the Office of Public Health and Safety to help us with any sort of mass curfew, roundup, and also with providing resources to both the kids and the parents so that they don't then, get picked up for curfew. They go back to their parents. They go back to the terrible environment in which they live and where they've grown up and they've seen terrible things their whole life, and they have no positive role models. They think that the gangster life is the only life, and they have to have a gun. Give them some hope that there is a different path, and that we don't see them back downtown the next week with a new gun. I mean, one of these kids that was arrested had a rifle stuffed in the front of his pants. Can you imagine your 13-year-old running around with a rifle stuffed in the front of his pants?
No.
I mean, it's hard to wrap your head around these things that make no sense. In most of our lives.
And maybe this last question here, and we'll let you go, is rhetorical. I feel like your message might be resonating. I saw Fox News, a panel on their show Outnumbered today, quoting you and showing your press conference that you had and using the message about talking about the emphasis on parents being being held accountable. And I think when you start to see that on a national level, hopefully there's a message to be, hopefully it's resonating. You know what I'm saying? Hopefully.
Yeah, sorry.
Go ahead.
I certainly wasn't intending to get clicks or likes.
No.
My daughter's told me that there's some video circulating on TikTok that has 1 million likes, and I'm like, well, that sounds like a lot. It wasn't my intent. But my intent is to start a conversation to get people actually, talking and finding solutions and not just talking in circles. And that seems to be happening. I think we're going to see some things here locally at the council level that may help us at least send a message. The judges and the family court were very open and willing to help us, knowing that there are limitations at the center, that they still have the ability to help us if we do something off-site. I have talked to the prosecutor. The prosecutor has been issuing or requesting stay-away orders, which people want to know what those are. They're like protective orders. So if you get arrested at Maryland, Illinois, the court hits you with a stay-away order and we find you down there, then we can arrest you for invasion of privacy. So those are tools that we hadn't used widely in the past that we're willing to use now just to keep people that repeatedly come downtown for for issues. So that there is a lot of movement, a lot of conversation, and that's good. We have to. If you're expecting the police to solve this, it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. Our tool is arrest, and I can tell you, we're going to use that tool to help keep our people safe, regardless of where they are in our city.
Would you like to see state lawmakers get involved in this process in any way, Chief?
Yeah, I think there's some conversations we can have about how we can update some of the laws and make them work a little bit better for us. We tried a few other things last year, didn't make it to the finish line. We'll try it again. And I just want to add this last thing, and then I'll stop talking. The Indiana State Police have been fantastic partners. I have a commitment from the superintendent to help us every weekend, at least through the end of July. I know they have their own thing to deal with the state fair coming up, but tremendous partners, more than willing to step in and help us throughout the playoffs and all of our major events. We couldn't do it without them, and so I want to make sure I call out Superintendent Anthony Scott and the state police for their help.
Well, Chief, we appreciate you taking the time to join us. I know you've got an awful lot on your plate right now, and thank you so much for your time. Be safe. Tell your officers to be safe.
Thanks for having me.
It's the Hammer and Nigel Show.
Gotta love summertime. It's for enjoying outdoor music and vacations, and our pals at AAA Hoosier Motor Club can help you save on both. AAA is now the official travel partner of Ruoff Music Center, and AAA members going to enjoy some big-time benefits. Early entry into concerts, access to the AAA Premier Lounge. Can't wait to go see Chris Stapleton this summer.
Concerts at Ruoff, always a good time, always a fun time. Same with going on a vacation. And AAA members save with access to hotel discounts, rental car discounts, and a lot more, along with complimentary travel planning. Plus, if you run into trouble on the road, AAA has you covered. Flat tire, dead battery, run out of gas. AAA is there 24/7, 365, no matter where your travels take you. So do yourself a favor. Join AAA today. AAA.com, 844-GO-AAA-GO, or stop by your local AAA office.
Guys, Hammer and Nigel here. Don't live with tiredness and low energy. Get your life back with testosterone therapy at Low T Center. Take the test, get fast results, and start TRT with Indianapolis' leading experts in men's health.
Now it's easier than ever with the new Synergen X Health app, an innovation in healthcare technology you won't find anywhere else. Download right now or book an appointment while the test is still free at fixmylowt.com. fixmylowt.com.
Lanny went to college and racked up huge debt.
A little bit over $100,000.
For a degree he couldn't use? Now what?
I had a friend that went to My Computer Career.
They even helped him get hired immediately after graduation.
One of the things I love about IT is that you can work from anywhere you want.
You could become an IT pro in just months, including cybersecurity and the basics of AI with zero experience at mycomputercareer.edu. My Computer Career, an elite CompTIA certification partner.
It worked for me, and I know it can work for you.
This is one student's experience. Individual results vary.
At Kingdom Roofing Systems, they do more than just roofing. They believe in honoring those who've served. Kingdom Roofing Systems proudly participates in the Roof Deployment Project, which provides a brand new roof to a deserving U.S. veteran or active duty service member, absolutely free. You can help give back to those who have given so much. If you or someone you know has served, owns their home, and is in need of a new roof, apply today at kingdomroofingsystems.com/RDP. Kingdom Roofing Systems, building roofs, honoring heroes.
Dear driver, thank you. Thank you for slowing down when you saw the orange cones and road construction signs. My husband is one of those road workers. And today, you saved his life. If you hadn't slowed down, you would have missed that lane change, driven right into the work zone, and you would have killed him. Because you were driving differently. He'll be at our son's Little League game this weekend. He'll be there to walk our daughter down the aisle. He'll be out there tomorrow, making Indiana's roads safer. Thank you.
When driving in a construction zone, be smart, be alert, be in the zone.
This is Brian Short, Business Manager for the Indiana Laborers District Council. Everyone deserves a safe place to work.
Do your part in the cone zone. Slow down, save lives. We're all in this together.
A message from Indiana's District Council of Laborers International Union of North America and affiliated locals.
The Attorney General's Unclaimed Property Division has over $800 million just waiting to be claimed. Text Tamara and Nigel to 46220 or visit indianaunclaimed.gov to claim yours today.
Trust employee owned. B Windows extending our employee discount to you. Up to 55% off plus 18 months, no interest, no payments. Trust your home to B.
Addiction doesn't just affect one person, it touches everyone around them. That's why Matt Baer and Ryan Hedrick created the Supporting Sobriety podcast. It's for the friends and family standing behind, offering hope, guidance, and real talk. Listen now wherever you get your podcasts.
All right, Matt Baer, what's going on?
I'm looking at southbound 65 coming into downtown, and we have stop-and-go traffic from 38th Street Kessler Boulevard to MLK. There was a dog on the interstate, and now the right shoulder is blocked by police, concerned people, and it looks like the dog's going to be fine. In the meantime, traffic stopped to 38th Street Kessler Boulevard. That's an 11-minute delay. Checking out eastbound 70, stall at Harding Street, blocking the left lane. After that, stop-and-go traffic West Street into the south split. Downtown, southbound 65, 70 jam from the north split to the south. A split virtually stopped in some parts, a 28-minute delay. And then on the south side, eastbound 465, slow from South Meridian Street to I-65. Traffic sponsored by B Window. Right now, B Window is extending their employee discount to you. Get 55% off all products and services, plus 18 months, no interest or payments. Trust a local, trust employee owned. Trust your home to bwindow.com. I'm Matt Baer. Follow us for instant traffic updates at WIBC Traffic.
All right, 78 at the American Standard Cooling Weather Center. Went long with the chief of police from IMPD, Chris Bailey, right there. But if you want to hear that again, Allison's going to put that on the podcast page at WIBC.com.
That's pretty powerful.
Powerful stuff right there. And coming up next, we're going to have Michael Paul Hart. He's the minority leader for the City County Council. We've got to get into this curfew thing. We've got to get into some funding and ways the City County Council can help us here in Indy. That's next.
Without an Advent clinic nearby, people suffering needlessly from chronic nasal congestion and sinus infections would be stuck with either Band-Aid or Sledgehammer solutions. Band-Aids are pills or nasal sprays, and they're not true solutions. Surgery is a sledgehammer, and that's what we're trying to avoid. Because most people don't need surgery for nose and sinus issues, nor do they want a 14-day recovery. Our unique Advent approach can, in 20 minutes in our office, open your blocked nose for good, with only 1-day recovery. I'm Advent founder Dr. Kandula. Outside of Advent's four walls, invasive surgery is what they'll recommend. But here, you will find effective and convenient in-office solutions to help you stop the need for Band-Aids and avoid the sledgehammer.
Go to adventknows.com to schedule your appointment, because Advent knows when you breathe well, you live better. AdventKnows.com. Most insurance accepted.
Get a great deal on versatile Kubota equipment today, like the Kubota BX Series subcompact tractor, the #1 selling subcompact tractor in the U.S., Z-Series mowers, and Sidekick utility vehicles. Stop by your local Kubota dealer today. Right now, bring home select Kubota equipment with 0% financing available, or save up to $4,000. Now through September 30th. See us or go to KubotaUSA.com for full disclaimer.
Stop by McAllister Machinery in Indianapolis to see their full line of Kubota, or visit them online at McAllisterKubota.com.
Did you know you can get your prescriptions for less at your local pharmacy? You can with GoodRx. It's the free app that can save you money on your medications. Just search for your prescription, choose the pharmacy and the price that works best for you, and then show your GoodRx coupon to your pharmacist at the drop-off counter. GoodRx works at over 70,000 pharmacies, including Walmart, Rite Aid, and Walgreens, and it works whether you have insurance or not. It's easy to save. Next time you drop off your prescription, check GoodRx. To start saving today, go to GoodRx.com. GoodRx is not insurance.
Garage door problems? Call today for service today. Garage Doors of Indianapolis services all makes of garage doors 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Call today for service today. 875-4577. Call today for service today. Get it fixed right now. Call Garage Doors of Indianapolis at 875-4577. or visit doorstoday.com.
In the morning, call 875-4577. Service today.
Join Mark Patrick Seminars and lose the weight guaranteed. Early bird special only $49.99. Hypnosis to destroy unwanted cravings. Also, stop smoking with Mark Patrick. Destroy your desire to smoke without cravings, irritability, weight gain, or your money back. Seminars July 31st at the Holiday Inn Express and Suites in Noblesville. Weight loss seminar 5:30 p.m. Stop smoking seminar 8 p.m. And Saturday, August 2nd at the Holiday Inn Indianapolis Airport. Weight loss seminar 11 a.m. Stop smoking seminar 2 p.m. Register at markpatrickseminars.com.
Coming up in 2 minutes, that is coming up right after Fox News from the Technology Recycler Studios. You may remember that shooting Saturday morning in downtown Indy. More updates to come on that. What prosecutors are saying about ridiculous behavior in terms of gun violence and what to expect in the state regarding weather for this week. You're listening to 93 WIBC. WIBC HD1 Indianapolis. It's 5 o'clock.
Another painful day in Texas. I'm Lisa Brady, Fox News. In 6 counties, officials confirm at least 89 people dead from the flash flooding early Friday along the Guadalupe River. Search crews still looking for more people unaccounted for, including summer camp children and a counselor.
National Guardsmen, their helicopters are flying through here trying to help, doing what they can. Trees that are knocked over. When that happened, when the floodwaters rushed through this area, authorities say they have recovered 75 bodies here in Kirk County alone, including 48 adults and 27 children. Some crews are literally crawling through mangled trees and brush.
Fox's Christina Coleman in Kerrville, where resident Jeremy Kurth tells Fox nobody saw this coming.
This doesn't happen here. Sadly, we don't get much rain. And when we do, it floods, but not like this.
The White House and National Weather Service rejecting claims that staffing cuts affected flood warnings. South Korea says it will step up trade talks with the U.S. as President Trump sets a new August 1st date for reciprocal tariffs to kick in, sending letters about the rates countries will face. A federal judge ordering more information from Homeland Security on next steps for a Maryland resident once wrongfully deported to his native country.
Before deciding whether or not Kilmar Abrego Garcia should be moved from Tennessee to Maryland, Judge Paula Zinna said she wants to hear from immigration officials. What would happen if she released him pending his next hearing? Abrego Garcia's attorney, Simon Sandoval Moshenberg, says the judge wants to know if ICE will take him into custody and deport him to a place other than El Salvador, his home country, where he was mistakenly deported the first time.
If they want to deport him to a third country, they need to name that country, and they need to describe the process by which they're going to give him due process.
She's at a hearing on this for Thursday. The judge also ruled that Abrego Garcia's wrongful deportation lawsuit against the government can continue.
Fox's Jessica Rosenthal, he was recently returned to the U.S. to face criminal charges he denies. America is listening to Fox News.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
Charges were filed. Cloudy and 76 degrees here on Monument Circle. I'm Jake McDaniel. Here's what's trending at 5:02. Victims have been identified and arrests were made. John Herrick reports on the latest in the downtown Indianapolis mass shooting.
The Marion County coroner has identified the 2 kids who were killed as Azarian Cole and Xavier Jackson. Cole was 15 years old, Jackson 16. 4 people are now facing criminal charges, and one of those 4 is a 13-year-old. State Representative Andrew Ireland tells Wish TV's Tim Spears, don't blame the police.
IMPD is doing a great job, but the reality is there's no other leadership right now in the city-county building. There's no leadership, certainly in the prosecutor's office. On the other end of that, I mean, you can arrest somebody for, violating a curfew, but if you don't have a prosecutor that's willing to actually enforce that at the end of the day, it doesn't mean much.
Ireland says money won't fix the problem. That's what enforcement is for. John Herrick, 93 WIBC Mobile News.
When teenagers commit acts of violence like they have recently in Indiana, police and prosecutors tried to hold the parents accountable. Marion County Prosecutor Ryan Mears says he's looking into what parents may have known regarding their kids' behavior in that mass shooting that happened in downtown Indianapolis Saturday.
And so I know that IMPD is
looking into those things. And if IMPD brings us a case where a parent knew or should have known, and we're in a position to charge that individual, we will certainly do it.
Mears says cases like this are complicated, but they can get it done. In many places in Indiana, might be some rain happening this week.
I can't rule out an isolated severe storm. This time of year, we're getting to the time of year where hail is a little less common, so I wouldn't be too concerned about the hail threat.
Jason Puma with the National Weather Service in Indianapolis says he also isn't really concerned about the severe weather threat either. He also says it will be less humid this week than last week. And the Indiana DNR recently stocked 12 lakes with thousands of bass of different species across the state. That includes striped and hybrid striped bass fingerlings raised at the East Fork State Fish Hatchery in Davies County. If you enjoy fishing, you can check out Shady Park Lake in Madison County, Lake Schaefer in White County, and others. You can also check out the DNR's website if you want to learn more about striped or hybrid striped bass or to get a fishing license. You're 1 minute away from traffic and weather. It's 5:04.
Do you have an idea for a book? Fiction, nonfiction, or a children's book? We can help you put it together and bring it to market at Dorrance Publishing. We have thousands of testimonials from people just like you that we've helped get their books sold in stores and online. We've even got a service called The Writer's Coach. It's perfect for people that have a book idea in their head and they just need someone to help them put it on paper. Dorrance Book Publishing has been helping people just like you who have a book idea, written or not, for over 100 years. Imagine being counted among the most famous authors in the world with your very own book. Call right now and let us help you turn a book idea into reality. It's easier than you think. You just need a little help. Call us now.
800-879-4098. 800-879-4098. 800-879-4098. That's 800-879-4098.
You've got WIBC traffic at 5:05. Matt Bear, what you got?
Well, we have a dog on the interstate, Jake. And this is southbound 65 now slow after 38th Kessler past the White River. The dog now over on the right shoulder in the ditch with the police and concerned people. But in the meantime, we do have a slowdown there. Southbound 6570 stopped from the north split to the south split for construction. This is a 23-minute delay. We're also backed up on westbound 70 a little bit from the north split. And eastbound 70 from the west side slows into the south split from Harding Street. South side, eastbound 465 slow roll from South Meridian Street over to I-65. Crash Madison Avenue north of Raymond Street. Crash northwest side, Lafayette Road and West 46. Traffic sponsored by the International Hot Rod Association. Nitro's back. The IHRA Outlaw Nitro Series is lighting up the track. Grab your tickets for Columbus July 9th through the 12th now at IHRA.com. That's IHRA.com. I'm Matt Bear. Follow us for instant traffic updates at WIBC Traffic.
Thank you, Matt. Here's your forecast from the American Standard Cooling Weather Center.
Expecting mild nights tonight under partly cloudy skies as lows drop into the mid-60s. Tuesday's going to be hotter with more sunshine as we're expecting highs in the upper 80s. Some locations may hit the 90s, but then we're tracking isolated rain chances by late Tuesday night. Rainstorm chances to turn more scattered by Wednesday with slightly cooler temperatures but near average for this time of the year. Highs will be in the mid-80s on Wednesday with humidity values staying elevated through the middle of the work week. I'm Wish TV Storm Track meteorologist Stephen Deanna for 93 WIBC.
I'm Jake McDaniel on the level on the go and on WIBC.com.
Hammer and Nigel.
Can you believe these characters are weirdos? So let's rock it!
My name is Nigel. Jason Hammer right over there with a very special in-studio guest.
He's the minority leader for the City County Council here in Indy, Michael Paul Hart. Got a lot of stuff to get to, okay? And before we get to anything, the weekend violence, the mass shooting, the response from the elected officials in this city, your thoughts?
Absolutely. I mean, it's 2 weekends in a row. The weekend before that wasn't any better.
Yeah.
And this is just the second time it's happened. My response is it's there's fault everywhere, right? There's fault on the mayor's office. There's fault on the prosecutors, the judges, and the council, right? It's everybody's at fault here, and we all have to collectively work together to solve it. But, until we get to that point, we're going to keep seeing what we're seeing.
Would there ever be a moment where there would be a vote of no confidence on Joe Hogsett? I mean, this isn't like this is the first time something bad has happened in the city under his leadership. He went missing during the riots. There's the big sexual harassment scandal, high murder rates. He's the mayor responsible for the record homicide numbers in the city. Would there ever be a time where you, as the minority leader, would try to go across party aisles right now, because it seems like some Democrats don't like Joe right now, and have a vote of no confidence?
Yeah, I think it would die on the floor instantly. If I try to bring something like that forward, what happens is, because we're so hardly outnumbered, like, there's 19 of them or 18 of them and 6 of us. If we bring something like that, well, you make the motion, you get it seconded, you get a vote, and it's going to go 18 to 6 or 18 to 7, right? You'd probably pull Jesse Brown, but that's about it. And then it's done, it's over, and we didn't actually solve anything by doing it, right? Where we have to remind people that the power lies is that we control the finances of everything. We control the finances of the court. We control the finances of the prosecutor. And the ball is in our court right now because we're heading into the fall budget season. And what we have to do is remind these folks, if there's no money for juvenile centers, if there's the prosecutor wants something, we have to use what we have as our power, which is the financial authority to do that.
All right, so let's talk about the Youth Justice Center. Used to be called the Juvenile Justice Center. That's back when Nigel and I grew up. Juvie, as we called it. We've heard from the chief of police. We've heard from the prosecutor. Most of the beds are currently full in the Marion County, Indianapolis Youth Justice Center. Would there be a meeting about possibly getting another one in Indianapolis? It seems like there's a need for it.
Yeah, so here's a couple things on that. The first one is, back to the budget. And this is a conversation that the council, to my understanding, hasn't had, right? Generally, just what happens, so your listeners know, is, we have all these people come into our committees and they say, here's our budget. They read over it, give us a presentation in an hour and a half, and then approved. That's it. You don't really see any negotiating happening. And that's what has to change. That's what we've been calling for. The Republicans have been calling for over and over again, year after year, is we've even passed ordinances back during ARPA to say, if we're giving you dollars for programs, you need to come back to the council and show us if it's working or if it's not working. Because, if I asked any of you to give me money and on something that didn't work, you're not going to give me money to do it again.
Right. Because our listeners are going to say, wait a minute, there's money for a government-funded hotel over here, but if we really want to be Johnny Tough Guy on curfew violations and juvenile offenders, we don't have money for another youth justice center?
Exactly, and that's one of the reasons why we as Republicans pushed against that hotel, is because, one, that's not our business to be owning hotels, but two, is that the needs of the people, and it's doing the basics. It's making sure the city's safe. That is by far the foundational aspect of our responsibility as government, and then it's roads and water and trash and all those sorts of things. And then
don't get me started on trash. We've already had a lot of talk about trash on this program, Counselor.
They just warned me not to mention AES before I walked in here.
Hey, back to the mayor for just a second. I mean, I know there's been a couple of Democrats, a Republican or two on the council. It's called for his resignation. I mean, you've been criticized for not standing up and calling for his resignation. How do you feel about that? Where do you stand on calling for the resignation of Mayor Hogsett, even though I think it would be more of a symbolic gesture more than anything else. What are your thoughts on the criticism?
Let me kind of put these two things together, right? The question that we're talking about, the crime going on, and that at the same time, and I'll tell you a brief story that happened over the weekend, where I actually had an officer call me this weekend. One of the officers who was downtown the same time all that shooting and everything went down, he was one of the responders. He told me, he said, like, I was there when the first child was injured. He had already been there. The kid was already shot. He was shot in the pelvis. And he said the thing that frustrated him the most, there's two things. The first thing is that it took 20 minutes for an ambulance to get there, to show up and respond on scene to try and save that child's life, and then assess the other ones that are going on, right? And then he proceeds to tell me all his other frustrations about how it's extremely hard to be a police officer in Indianapolis because of essentially the paperwork they have to do. They want to get out of their car. They want to go try and arrest somebody. They want to try and do their job. It's filled with paperwork, and then they're overworked. And so I hear all this from officers, and they tell me these things, and then I have to make a decision. I have to make a decision where I'm going to spend my time, right? Is it continuing to listen to these guys and try and come up with solutions to, what's going to prevent them from doing their job? How am I going to get more officers? Or is it, calling for a resignation, right? And I've made the choice to try and solve the problems, and that's one of many. There are so many of these, and
Isn't Joe Hogsett one of the problems, though?
He certainly is, and there's things that we can do and we can work on. But, to your point of asking symbolic, right? I can go out there and do it. Did I solve anything? No. But if I can go out there and, improve our dispatch system to get, folks out there quicker, if I can
get rid of the red tape for these cops that
absolutely
have to operate. Yeah.
Yeah. That to me is effective leadership, right? And just going out there and calling for these things and it doesn't change it. That isn't effective leadership.
We're speaking with Michael Paul Hart. He's the minority leader for the City County Council meeting tonight. Now, hearing some chatter, some folks that have sent me messages saying tonight there may be some more folks lined up to speak against Vop Osili. He's the president of your council. He's the one that decided to kick out one of Joe Hogsett's accusers from a meeting recently. Thomas Carl Cook's accusers.
That was the last time you were in this studio, I believe. You were getting ready to leave here and go to that hearing where Lauren Roberts, who was Thomas Carl Cook's accuser, speak.
And she claims Hogsett knew and kind of covered it up.
Yeah. First of all, before we proceed with that question, just that scene that night, what was that like for you? I mean, I know what it was like for the people that were involved, but just being on the council there, sitting and watching that. And should she have been allowed to speak? Should Vop have allowed her to speak?
Absolutely, she should have been allowed to speak. No doubt about that.
Longer, I guess.
Oh, absolutely, but beyond 2 minutes, right? And so
yes.
what was the stark observation I made is that for months before that we had folks coming in there talking about Palestine and protesting and really causing disruptions inside of the council chambers, and Vop was pretty lenient during those times, right? He would I don't necessarily go past 2 minutes, maybe 30 seconds past 2 minutes, but he would go past it. But he would wait a lot longer before he would remove somebody. So the stark observation I made here was that, he was really quick to remove her and certainly disagree with that decision. And I don't know why he made it in that realm, but, I certainly, we have to follow the rules and procedures of, he's in charge. He's making those decisions. We don't agree with him. And a lot of folks that night said that they did not agree with what decision he made.
So take us into tonight now. Is what Vop Osili did to that accuser worthy of having other counselors get together and say, we're voting you out of your position? Is that something that could happen? Do you anticipate counselors, whether it be yourself or others tonight, to speak out against the leadership of the council?
So I'll remind you of one thing, and then I'll answer that question. So remember Krista Carlino, when she did that, how quickly that flip-flopped. So she called for it, and then it was maybe a day later, 2 days, a day and a half later.
She apologized for calling for it.
Right. So she set the standard of what that looks like when you do it. So the other one, it's Jesse, right? It's the one who's not part of anything. And what I understand is that he's asking for tonight is essentially a discussion on it. So there is a procedure in the municipal code that you have to go through. You can't just make the motion in one night, but he is asking for the conversation in August to be had. Do we keep our current leaders, both the president and vice president?
Any momentum at all behind it? I know he's kind of the outcast on that council, but it's not like Vop is making a lot of friends these days. Any sort of momentum behind that movement?
Hard to judge. He sent out one email yesterday saying he was going to, or maybe even this morning, that he was going to do it. I haven't talked to any of the Democrats on the council. Looking at what they did to Krista Carlino.
What happened with Carlino? Why the turnaround there? What do you have thoughts on that?
And, I'm not impressed the way that she handled the committee by any means. I think it was failed leadership. It was botched completely. Not calling, not using subpoena powers, just allowing the acceptance of a report without any educated questions after reviewing a report. Those were just two major failures on top of, her whole time in charge. But I can't say why, she did what she did. But she did it. But I would say that she apologized so she could stay part of the caucus, which is, probably the obvious answer.
We're speaking with the minority leader for the City County Council, Michael Paul Hart, is with us. Where is the GOP chairwoman, Natalie Goodwin? I remember her being elected, and I don't think we have heard a peep from this individual since the election. Is she somebody that you guys need to be working with more, or what's going on there?
Yeah, so I talk to Natalie every day. We are highly engaged. We talk all the time. I was literally talking to her on the phone right before I walked into here. So she's around. She's working. She is certainly doing work.
Because we don't hear a lot from her in the media, and we're pretty tied into the media.
Right. We do have a long game strategy for 2027. We're working on 2027 now. We're working to flip seats, and it puts a lot of back end work in on that. So she is working. She's doing work. I can guarantee you that.
Do you or any of your colleagues have somebody lined up to run for the mayor's office the next time that opens up here in Indianapolis?
We're always recruiting. Always recruiting.
Okay. Is it you?
No, it's not me. No.
Okay.
It's certainly not me. I'm trying to get more Republicans on the city council right now. That is operation number one for Michael Hart.
Last thing here before we let you go. When are we going to find out if the city is making money? We've had a lot of major events. The Pacers had a big playoff run. We kept hearing about how much money was coming into the city of Indianapolis. How is the city doing? When are we going to get some budget numbers and things like that?
Yeah, that has started now. So we've had our first meeting about a week ago. First numbers are looking gloom. The first numbers that were presented to me is that we have a $27 million deficit. Now, that we have it, right, but it's projected to if we don't make adjustments or if the mayor's office doesn't make adjustments. So
have you had a deficit before?
We can't pass a deficit. It is against the Indiana code, is against law for us to pass one. So the mayor's office has to make cuts in their budget in order to pass a balanced budget.
How does $27 million appear, though? Like, again, all these conventions, all these things, that seems like an awful big number. Where did this money go?
Yeah, so there's the flat line of what it was last year, which is $1.65 billion. And then there's new tax dollars that come in from county tax and property taxes, and the property taxes are in a deficit. There's less this year than there were last year because of Senate Bill 1. And then there's new expenditures that exceed the dollars that come in. And so that's where the $27 million comes from, is that we have road funding. So we're doing that match program to get the additional $50 million to the city. There's $10 million there, and then there's dollars for collective bargaining agreements. So making sure that we can pay the fire, the police, and the EMS and all those folks. That's where those new expenditures are in. And so the mayor's office has to come back and cut some spending, and we're giving them suggestions on how to do that.
Counselor, have a great meeting tonight. Keep us informed, and we'll talk soon.
Absolutely. Thanks, gentlemen.
Matt Bear standing by. He's in the WIBC Traffic Center.
Downtown, southbound 6570, stop traffic from the north split to the south split. Also westbound 70 backing up out of the north split almost to Rural Street. It's a crash, 38th at Penn. Crash on the northwest side, Lafayette Road at West 46th Street. Crash on the south side, Madison Avenue, north of Raymond Street. Traffic sponsored by the International Hot Rod Association. Nitro's back. The IHRA Outlaw Nitro Series is lighting up the track. Grab your tickets for Columbus, July 9th through the 12th, now at IHRA.com. That's IHRA.com. I'm Matt Bear. Follow us for instant traffic updates at WIBC Traffic.
All right, coming up here in just about 15 minutes, Representative Andrew Ireland will join us. We're going to find out what the state can do in regards to fixing the broken-ass city of Indianapolis right now. Man, I did not like to hear that budget projection right there at all.
27 mil?
Yeah. 27 mil
Councilman Michael.
Deficit. Yeah. But with the Representative Andrew Ireland coming up, we'll focus on crime. We'll focus on curfew. We'll focus on how to get a new juvenile justice center here in Marion County. A lot of things can be done at a state level. We'll see if there's any momentum for it. That's coming up in just a little bit. 78 at the American Standard Cooling Weather Center. A quick round of Are You Okay With This next.
The Voice of Health Minute with Dr. Robert Prather of Holistic Integration.
When you're looking at structure function care, what it does is it gets to the root cause of the problem. People come in, they say, I've been to 6 different places. And I said, well, let's look at this. Those symptoms are really interesting. Let's get to the cause of it. And they go, oh, finally.
Finally, someone
Right.
wants to get to the cause of it.
They've been saying, well, Doc, I'm supposed to take this steroid cream, but what caused it in the first place? Doesn't matter. Well, I think it does. The patients are smart enough to say, well, that doesn't sound right to me. You might have had to parrot that in medical school, but that doesn't fly with me. And so getting to the cause of it and balancing out the body, and you can have the exact same symptom and have completely different causes. Just that symptom doesn't necessarily mean it's a one-set cause.
The Voice of Health with Dr. Robert Prather, Sundays at 8 p.m. or anytime at thevoiceofhealthradio.com.
You know exactly why you need to remodel that kitchen of yours. The space, it's outdated. You can't move around like you used to. It doesn't work like it needs to. You want to entertain and you want to improve your quality of life. This can happen, just not with the kitchen you have. You need to call Booher Remodeling, B-O-O-H-E-R, BooherRemodeling.com. They can take that old kitchen that's deteriorating and broken down and turn it into something that works for you and your family. Their 5-step design process from start to finish, the consultation, the preliminary design, the design development, getting all the documents together, and then getting it done. The best materials, the most skilled craftsmen in Central Indiana. Booher Remodeling will guide you through the entire process, starting with the free initial consultation, and they stand behind their work with a 2-year workmanship guarantee. Create that new kitchen. Design experts can use an existing layout or begin completely from scratch. Talk to Booher Remodeling today. B-O-O-H-E-R. BooherRemodeling.com. That's BooherRemodeling.com.
Guys, Hammer and Nigel here. Don't live with tiredness and low energy. Get your life back with testosterone therapy at Low T Center. Take the test, get fast results, and start TRT with Indianapolis' leading experts in men's health.
Now it's easier than ever with the new Synergen X Health app, an innovation in healthcare technology you won't find anywhere else. Download right now or book an appointment while the test is still free at fixmylowt.com. fixmylowt.com.
This is Joe Cordell of Cordell & Cordell. Serving in the military requires great sacrifices, not just for one's country, but also for one's family. Not surprisingly, divorce for soldiers is especially difficult, and it raises a number of challenges that are peculiar to military divorce, things such as deployments, relocation, retirement benefits. These issues can be complicated. So if you're a soldier facing such challenges, go to CordellCordell.com.
101 West Ohio, Indianapolis. CordellCordell.com.
Oh no, stomach issues again?
Stomach issues?
Who are you?
Your pancreas. I could be the real reason for your diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, or loose oily stools.
I thought it was my stomach.
People often do, but any of these symptoms could mean having a condition called exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, or EPI. With EPI, the pancreas doesn't release enough enzymes to break down food, but EPI is manageable. Use the symptom checker on identifyepi.com and speak with your doctor. That's identifyepi.com. Sponsored by AbbVie.
Road trip! This summer at Tire Discounters, your tires are your passport to savings, because you're driving to Paris,
Texas,
then it's off to Rome,
Georgia,
and you'll be kissing the Blarney Stone in Dublin,
Ohio!
Right now, save up to $494 when you buy 4 tires, and that includes a free alignment and oil change. Stop at Tire Discounters before you see the world.
Inside Indiana Business Radio, the news you need to get ahead. Indiana's business news leader, weekdays at 6:32 a.m. and 5:56 p.m. on WIBC.
Trust employee owned. B Windows extending our employee discount to you, up to 55% off, plus 18 months, no interest, no payments. Trust your home to be.
Are you really okay with this?
Are you okay? Everything's gonna be okay.
Are you okay?
Yeah, I'm fine.
I'm pretty far from okay.
Are you okay with this?
On the Hammer and Nigel show. Oh, man. Hammer, former Eagles player, NFL player Jason Kelce. He's the one with the brother that is going out with Taylor Swift, right? Is that
He's also a Pro Bowl, Super Bowl champion with the Chiefs, but yeah.
Yeah, that's right. Anyway, Eagles player Jason Kelce went on social media and wished everyone a happy 4th of July and was ripped for it by woke progressiveness. What did he say? Are you okay with this?
So Jason Kelce put this hot take on Instagram, okay? Man, I love the 4th. One of the great days we can all set aside our differences in this country and enjoy the one thing we all share in common, that we are American. Cheers to you, oh beautiful America. And he had a picture of fireworks.
Okay, nothing wrong with that.
Can I read to you some of the responses that Jason Kelsey got?
Okay.
Quote, love you, man, but this holiday feels like a knife to the heart.
Oh, for God's
Here's another. I love you, bro, but your privilege is showing. Here's another. You are able to set things aside, but not everyone has that privilege. This one may be my favorite one. If you are neutral on injustice, you have chosen the side of the oppressor. He told everybody happy 4th of July. Here's another one. Today, we are grieving the downfall of what used to be a great nation. Again, Jason Kelsey simply said, hey, happy 4th of July, and shared a fireworks picture.
If you are neutral on injustice, you have chosen the side of the oppressor.
So
Man,
are
sounds
you
like a
guys going to
Bible
have
verse?
Are you guys going to have Roman candles at your party? I mean, you sound really fun. If you're talking about neutral on injustice and the side of the oppressor, don't bother showing up to my fireworks backyard extravaganza.
Stay home.
Oh, these people are ridiculous. But these idiots, let them keep talking. Let them keep talking.
Sure.
Because that's how they lost every single swing state. All right, Representative Andrew Ireland, what can be done at a state level to make things better in Indy? Whether it's recalls, whether it's another justice center. We're going to cover all that coming up right after the news.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
Families impacted. Cloudy and 77 degrees here on Monument Circle. The low tonight near 66. I'm Jake McDaniel, and this report is brought to you by Moss Roofing. Here's what's trending at 5:30. The Kansas City Chiefs owners are heartbroken after the recent floods in Texas. Janie Hunt was a family member of Chiefs owner Clark Hunt. She died after she was at Camp Mystic, which is a Christian girls camp that was hit hard when the floods swept through on the 4th of July. Clark's wife, Tavia Hunt, said her family is devastated with the amount of people who died. President Trump sent a clear message to countries that haven't finalized trade deals with the U.S. He sent letters letting leaders know about higher tariffs if deals are not reached by Wednesday. Fox's Peter Ducey.
The White House is boasting about new trade deals, and this is how President Trump said it was going to go. If grand bargains couldn't be reached, the White House would just start sending letters to trading partners with their new rates.
There will be approximately 12 other countries that will receive notifications and letters directly from the President of the United States.
Since that briefing, there have also been announcements about Malaysia and Singapore, and basically what the White House is doing is they are just having, they're notifying these trading partners that their tariff rates are snapping back to the Liberation Day rates.
White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt said Japan and Korea could face a 25% tariff rate starting in early August. Japanese negotiators were not willing to compromise their farming sector to purchase American-grown rice. And you've probably heard a lot of kids committing violent acts. John Herrick reports on how prosecuting the parents can be achieved.
Marion County Prosecutor Ryan Mears says those are often complicated cases, but it can be done.
Well, the one thing that we would have to prove is that a specific parent knew or should have known that their child had a firearm and that their child had that gun.
He says both he and the police will look at activity on their phone and social media. It's something Mears says he's doing a lot right now while trying to find who's responsible for the recent mass shooting in downtown Indianapolis. John Herrick, 93 WIBC Mobile News.
Average price for gas today is $3.10 a gallon, according to GasBuddy.com. That's down 13 cents from last week, up 9 cents from last month, and 4 cents below the national average. You've got one of the cheapest gas prices in Evansville at $2.67. With traffic, here's Matt Bear.
Westbound 70 loaded after rural through the north split down to Meridian Penn, and southbound 6570 downtown jammed from the north split to the south split. That's running on a 33-minute delay right now. Southbound 65 slow from 21st to Meridian Penn, and eastbound 70 slow to the south split from Harding on a 2-minute delay. It's a crash north side, Keystone Avenue at 66th Street. Crash on the northwest side, Lafayette Road at 46. And a crash on the south side. This is Madison Avenue north of Raymond Street. Crash at 38th at Penn. Traffic sponsored by Indy Decorative Concrete. Make summer nights unforgettable with Indy Decorative Concrete. Get 50% off a stunning fire pit with their best stamped concrete patio package. Hurry! Offer ends September 1st. Visit IndyDecorativeConcrete.com. I'm Matt Bear. Follow us for instant traffic updates at WIBC Traffic.
And now here's your forecast from the American Standard Cooling Weather Center.
Tonight, partly cloudy skies as lows drop into the mid-60s. Tuesday's going to be hotter with more sunshine as we're expecting highs in the upper 80s. Some locations may hit the 90s, but then we're tracking isolated rain chances by late Tuesday night. Rainstorm chances to turn more scattered by Wednesday. Highs will be in the mid-80s on Wednesday with humidity values staying elevated through the middle of the work week. I'm Wish TV Storm Track A meteorologist Stephen Deanna for 93 WIBC.
I'm Jake McDaniel on the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com.
It's the Hammer and Nigel Show, 93 WIBC. Big Nige is here. I'm Jason Hammer, joined in studio by Representative Andrew Ireland, representing District 90. And Representative, thank you for joining us in studio. You've been pretty outspoken about having the state, the General Assembly, the legislature step in and help places like Indianapolis when you've got a prosecutor who doesn't want to prosecute, a mayor who apparently thinks all of these homicides are just fine. What can be done at a state level, if anything, to help places like Indianapolis?
Well, you raised two pieces of that puzzle right there. You've got a mayor who is clearly, kind of missing in action, and you've got a prosecutor who doesn't want to prosecute. But I'll tell you, there's one more piece of that, too. So you have judges that don't want to hold violent offenders accountable, particularly here on the Marion County Superior Court. Now, I think we need accountability measures for all three of these offices, right?
Where do these judges come from? Because I know our listeners always ask, well, who are they? Let's vote them out. Sometimes you can't vote them out, right?
Well, that's right. So they're actually appointed. They're not elected, but they have a retention vote every 6 years. And so far, I don't think we've ever had a retention vote that went south. We seem to retain these same, people every year. But what I'm really calling for right now is, one, we need to have accountability measures from the State House to say that if you are not doing your job, you should be fired. I don't care if you're the prosecutor. I don't care if you're the judge. If you're not doing your job, you don't want to hold repeat violent offenders accountable, goodbye.
Who gets, in theory, to make the decision on that? Because, as you could imagine, it would get very political. The Republicans would always blame the Democrats. You're not doing your job, and then vice versa. I don't want it to be a political thing, but what's happening here in Indy is not okay.
That's right. And this is above politics, right? I mean, at the end of the day, this is violent crime. You would hope that both parties agree this is something that is a serious issue that we want to tackle. So whether you put that power in the governor's hands, you give the impeachment power to the General Assembly, or you just give the people the ability to recall these bad actors within their own government, I'm above all, kind of kitchen sink approach at this point, where I just want to ensure that we have something in place to hold these people accountable, because right now there is nothing in the books.
There's no recall in Indiana.
That's exactly right. There's no recall. You can't impeach these guys. Once they're elected, it's like they're there forever.
Andrew Ireland joining us in studio. He's a representative for District 90. So I'm being told from members of the city council that if we do enforce these laws, like the curfew law, for example, it's so overcrowded at the Juvenile Justice Center already, there's no place to put these people. It feels like there are laws in place, they're just not being enforced. And if we do enforce them, there's nowhere to put them. So again, as a elected official working at the General Assembly, how do we fix this?
Well, if you need a bigger jail, I'll be the first one to sponsor that bill. But I'll tell you, we used to have two jails until about a couple months ago, and we tore the old one down to build the new Justice Center on the southeast side. Despite the uptick in violent crime, we decided not to add additional beds to make up for that issue here in Marion County. And really, it goes back to local leadership here. I mean, you've got, for example, the chair of the Public Safety Committee for the City County Council, where they've canceled their last 2 meetings. I mean, they haven't even met since April. We have these serious conversations that need to be had. Groups like FOP calling out, local leaders to really step up and get involved, and they're not even meeting. They're not even talking about these things.
So I know the council, and this isn't necessarily your deal as a representative, but the council here seems like they are able to find money for government-funded hotels and other new taxpayer-funded buildings. Why can't it be another jail or another juvenile justice center?
Well, that's right. I mean, it's amazing to me what we're willing to spend our money on. You can throw hundreds of millions of dollars at Indie-Go buses, but man, we need to find a couple extra beds to hold some juveniles overnight to make sure they're not out shooting each other. Ooh, we don't have the money for that, apparently.
Right. Andrew Ireland, representative for District 90, joining us in studio. I keep hearing media outlets call this gun violence. Big weekend of, quote, gun violence. Do you buy that?
No, not at all. And it's amazing to me. You've got guys like Ryan Mears, the prosecutor, or the mayor, too, who love to talk about gun violence. They say, oh, the state's got to step up. It's got to change the laws. Common sense gun reform. But the reality is, when you look at Ryan Mears' record of actually going after bad guys with guns, these violent criminal offenders who've used firearms, it's abysmal.
Nigel and I have talked a lot about the effect that Joe Hogsett and Ryan Mears have had on the way we live life now here in downtown Indianapolis. From your perspective, what has the Hogsett, Mears, and even radical judges meant for the city of Indianapolis?
I mean, it's been a decade of decline, right? I mean, if you look at Indianapolis 10 years ago, this was a safe city where you could bring your kids downtown, you could hang out in the afternoon and the evening, and you didn't have to worry about somebody, harming you on the streets. That is not the reality anymore. Hogsett just said the other day that downtown is the safest neighborhood in the city of Indianapolis. That is probably one of the biggest lies I think I've ever heard out of a politician's mouth, and that's saying something because I deal with them every day.
Right.
But the reality is, I mean, when you look at other pockets of the city like mine, Wanamaker, Acton, life doesn't have to be that way. One, you got to have strong families, you got to have a strong police presence, but ultimately you have to have leadership that backs them up, holds these violent offenders accountable, and keeps them off the streets.
One of the conversations I think people are afraid to have is that there's not a lot of father figures in some of these inner city areas, and it's no coincidence that's where you're seeing a lot of these violent crimes take place. Is there anything that can be done for that?
Well, I think accountability is still a big piece of that conversation, right? I mean, when you see these sort of problems that are, kind of repeat offenders, and particularly, I mean, now we're seeing a new generation of young kids that are stepping into this problem too. If you're not holding them accountable the first time they act up, the first time they break curfew, it's no shock that they come around and they repeat offend. They get worse and worse over the years. They end up in the system. That's not good for them. That's not good for us. If you take a firm line from the beginning, I think you really can put this to bed.
You mentioned families, and Chief Bailey, IMPD Chief Bailey, was really adamant. And I'll say it. He was pissed off after the incident Saturday night, after the mass shooting. And he said, talking about holding the families, the parents accountable for the actions of their juveniles that come down here and commit crimes. Do you see any legislation, any way, anything like that coming down the road in terms of, yeah, you dropped your kid off down here, he's a juvenile, and he ended up shooting somebody, you're going to get charged as well?
Well, I think they should be. And the chief is absolutely right to be angry. I mean, what's happening is absolutely ridiculous. And part of it, again, is that you have a leadership failure, but some of it, too, I think, comes back at home, where you have mom and dad that are not stepping up and parenting. I mean, it's very frustrating. And to the extent that we don't have laws already, and I think we have some, frankly, that really take care of that problem, is to have a prosecutor that's willing to use them. To the extent we don't, I am more than happy to be the one that, leads that fight down to the State House.
How tough of a fight would that be, Representative, if you tried to come up with some sort of piece of legislation that held these basically negligent parents responsible? What kind of pushback would you get?
Well, I hope none. Seems like common sense to me.
That's true, but when has that ever been the way at the Indiana State House?
No, that's a good question. Listen, it's a deliberative process. Bills move slowly. Sometimes they take a couple of years. I've got a number of ones I worked on this session that hope to, take another swing at next session. But again, I really do think it's a common sense proposal. I would sure hope within our caucus, at least, that something we could get passed.
All right, so rank these potential pieces of legislation. And again, we're just playing fantasy politics at this point because the session is not happening. But rank these issues in terms of importance to you. Something where you could recall politicians, whether it be a mayor, whether it be a prosecutor here in Indianapolis, Marion County, or holding parents accountable.
Oh, they're both right at the top for me. I mean, again, public safety should be the number one focus of leadership at the local level, at the state level. And clearly right now, for way too many, it's not. I mean, even people in my own party, I don't understand why you are not standing out on the street screaming about this, because it is ridiculous where we've gotten, and we have to get serious about it.
Do we need more laws for juveniles, or is it a case of just having to enforce the ones we already have?
I think it's largely we have to enforce the ones we already have. I mean, again, this prosecutor, he loves to talk about the need for new laws to address these different issues, but we really don't generally need new laws. We just need somebody with the will to enforce the ones we already have.
Representative Andrew Ireland, one more thing here before we let you go. We mentioned it earlier, but funding for more jails. Nobody ever really wants a jail put next to their neighborhood, but it's also something that needs to happen. And you have to have people to work in new facilities like this. What kind of problems would you encounter if you pitched a new juvenile or adult center in Marion County?
Well, I think you're going to see a lot of, the folks like Ryan Mears that are going to come down and say, oh, really this is a systemic issue. The jail isn't going to fix this, that, we don't need accountability. Jesse Brown of the city council is just out the other day saying that we just need to give these people more money. They need better jobs. That's the issue. I got to tell you, I really don't buy that when these kids are out at, 1 a.m. dropped off by their parents playing around with firearms. That clearly to me is not a money issue. Yeah, at 15 years old. I mean, can you imagine at 15 doing that? Because I can't. We got to stop that. I mean, we really do.
Thank you so much for your time. And again, how can we help? How can the people listening to this program assist you in any way with what you want to get accomplished?
Keep holding people's feet to the fire. I mean, when you see these guys out, hey, tell them what you think. Do it respectfully, right? But there are some real issues that I think either they just aren't aware of or they lack the courage. They need a push in the right direction and blow up their Facebook post. Tell them what you think.
Representative Andrew Ireland, District 90, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
It's the Hammer and Nigel Show.
When people think sleep apnea, they think CPAP. Now at Advent, we do all we can to help sleep apnea sufferers avoid the CPAP machine. And most sleep apnea sufferers who come to Advent are going to be able to avoid a CPAP altogether. Our unique Advent approach using simple in-office solutions can get your nose working and throat open all under one roof. You see, the root of every snoring and obstructive sleep apnea problem lies within the throat, nose, or both. At Advent, we know when we get the nose and throat working properly, most snoring and sleep apnea problems will subside. And we have the most simple and convenient, ultra-effective in-office solutions that can do just that. And this is why people have traveled by planes, trains, and automobiles from corners of the world you would never think of to find the sleep apnea and snoring relief you won't find elsewhere.
Go to adventknows.com to schedule your appointment, because Advent knows when you breathe well, you live better. AdventKnows.com. Most insurance accepted.
Indiana summer storms are rolling in, and if you're like me, you're not climbing up on your roof to check for damage. That's why you call Moss Roofing. Family owned. Right here in central Indiana for over 30 years, Moss Roofing gives you something hard to find these days: honest work and peace of mind. They offer free inspections, and I mean a real thorough checkup of your roof, your siding, your gutters, and your windows. If there's storm damage, they'll show you the photos, explain everything clearly and thoroughly, and even work with your insurance company for you. No stress, no pressure, just real professionals doing the job right every single time. Protect your home and avoid bigger problems later. Call Moss Roofing today. 317-747-3665. Tell them Tony Katz sent you. 317-747-3665. Family owned, Moss Roofing. 747-3665 or online at Moss, M-O-S-S, mossroofing.com.
Join Mark Patrick Seminars and lose the weight guaranteed. Early bird special only $49.99. Hypnosis to destroy unwanted cravings. Also, stop smoking with Mark Patrick. Destroy your desire to smoke without cravings, irritability, weight gain, or your money back. Seminars July 31st at the Holiday Inn Express and Suites in Noblesville. Weight loss seminar 5:30 p.m. Stop smoking seminar 8 p.m. And Saturday, August 2nd at the Holiday Inn Indianapolis Airport. Weight loss seminar 11 a.m., stop smoking seminar 2 p.m. Register at markpatrickseminars.com.
It's Andy Moore's Summer Tent Sale in Avon. 4 days only, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Monday. You'll find more savings, more selection, more than 1,000 used cars priced to move, plus our lowest lease deals of the summer. Shop Andy Moore, Avon, Nissan, Kia, Toyota, and Volkswagen, all packed under one tent on Rockville Road, East US Highway 36. Get more for your money, only at Andy Moore Avon and online at andymore.com.
Hammer and Nigel here, inviting you to join us as we kick off the weekend every Friday around 5:45 with Beer Sample Friday, brought to you by our friends at Thompson Furniture and Mattress in Columbus.
Do you need air conditioning service and need to find a local well-trained expert you can trust, like Family Heating and Air Conditioning? Find that American Standard Air dealer at IndyHomeComfort.com.
Got one of those days that never stops? Try a stop at Speedway. Refresh the vibe with 69-cent large Big Gulp drinks. Speedy Rewards app required. Valid through 8/26/25. See app for full terms.
Think of it as WIBC on 2x speed. Big opinions, great moments, and just enough chaos. The WIBC Mashup Podcast brings it all together in one fast, fun listen. New episode each weekday. Subscribe wherever you get your podcast.
Matt Bear, what's going on?
And we're looking at southbound 6570. That is downtown construction delay from the north split to the south split. Is 16 minutes on that delay right now. Crash coming out of the north split, northbound 65 at Meridian on the shoulder. Has a slow through the north split almost to Rural Street on westbound 70. Looking at the west side, southbound 465 slow from I-65 down to Crawfordsville Road. And we have a crash 38th at Penn. Crash northwest side Lafayette Road at 46. Crash in Fisher, somebody's heard in this. Holyoke Road at 116th, and a crash on the west side, High School Road south of Rockville Road. Traffic sponsored by B Window. Right now, B Window is extending their employee discount to you. Get 55% off all products and services, plus 18 months, no interest or payments. Trust a local, trust employee owned, trust your home to bwindow.com. I'm Matt Bear. Follow us for instant traffic updates at WIBC Traffic.
All right, 78 at the American Standard Cooling Weather Center. Earlier in the show, I was trying to get through to the Mayor's Action Hotline, Nige, because my trash had not been picked up for like 2 weeks.
Yeah.
City of Indianapolis picks up my trash.
Your whole block.
Right. Not just mine, like people in the surrounding streets on my side of town.
That sucks.
So I sat on hold for a good 20, 25 minutes on the air with the Mayor's Action Hotline earlier. Finally spoke to an individual. She was really nice.
On the air.
On the air. And I got a text from the coupon lady who's at home. The trash has been picked up.
Wow, that was quick.
But they knocked over my trash can, and there's trash all over my street now.
No.
I posted a photo on Facebook and Twitter at Hammer and Nigel. Those bastards.
If at least if something happens like that where I live, the guy will hop out of because it's the big claw that comes and takes it and dumps it in the back.
Right.
Like if something falls out, a guy will get out and pick it up and throw it in.
Oh, no. I think our guy intentionally dumps it on the ground. So if you want to see that, again, that's what happens when you call the Mayor's Action Hotline and you wait on hold for 25 minutes because your trash hasn't been picked up for a couple of weeks. This is the type of service you get from Joe Hogsett's Indianapolis Mayor's office.
Okay.
We got an email here, Nige, from a listener named Joe.
Okay.
He says that, much like me, he can't sing. Took a little shot at me. But he also can produce some songs on AI. So this listener named Joe said this was a song that he created on AI about Joe Biden. Would you like to hear it?
Sure.
Riding down the Delaware line, he said he marched with Mandela, but he never had the time. Whispers to the mic, the crowd starts to cheer. Then he says, you ain't black if you vote kind of weird. Oh, the teleprompter's begging him to stick to the script, but Joe's got a habit of letting it rip. Say what?
It's a country song made from AI.
Just said corn pop ran the show. What you mean by that? Man, we're
interesting.
Legs in the pool, kids on his lap. Say what?
Okay.
Joe got us all laughing back.
This is AI?
Yes.
We choose truth over facts. You know the thing. I got hairy legs. They turn blonde in the sun.
The breakdown.
Poor kids are just as bright as white kids.
Say what?
Big finish.
Joe, it's rock and roll in a foggy show. Might forget where he's at, but he's still got his aviator hat.
That's right.
One more speech, one more gaff to go. Say what? Joe, let the blooper reel roll.
I got hairy legs that turn turn blonde in the sun.
If you have a problem figuring out whether you're for me or Trump, then you ain't black.
And Corn Pop was a bad dude. And he ran a bunch of bad boys.
It's a bunch of malarkey.
Well done, listener Joe.
Man, he's harnessed the power of AI just like you have, apparently putting me in a leotard of some sort over the weekend, which is very disturbing.
You were feeling the spirit of the country's birthday, Nige.
I was, but it was an inaccurate. Everybody could tell it was AI. You see, it was a picture of me. It looked like Joy Behar's body with my head on top.
A very tight, skin-tight onesie.
With an American flag.
Correct.
But a huge package, too. Thank you for... Did you purposely make my package very huge on this AI
did not.
picture?
It was just a gift from the AI gods,
Okay,
Nige.
well, you can scroll down our social media and find that as well if you'd like to see that.
Man, we have got another hour to go. And, of course, we're going to talk about what took place this past weekend. The chaos, the mass shooting. Who do we blame? What's going on? All of those questions we will address. We got another hour to go. Come on back. It's the Hammer and Nigel Show.
Masters Heating and Cooling is ready to make sure you are cool and comfortable all summer long. They took great care of my system, and they can help you make sure that everything is ready to go to ensure a nice, comfortable summer and then a very comfortable winter. I've worked with their general manager, David, numerous times, and it has always been a pleasure. And right now, you can get $500 off a new AC system. And if you've worked with Masters before and you've spent more than $500 on AC repairs in the last year, you can apply that amount as a credit towards a new system as well. Masters Heating and Cooling makes it easy. They've got flexible financing options and 24/7 service. So no matter what your issue, Masters Heating and Cooling is right there to take care of you and your family. Give Masters Heating and Cooling a call. 317-567-9505. Tell them Tony Katz sent you. 317-567-9505. Or request service online at mastersindy.com. mastersindy.com.
The Hendricks County 4-H Fair is back July 13th through the 19th in Danville. A state fair experience at county fair prices. Catch all the action with the truck and tractor pull, lawn and garden tractor pull, the championship rodeo, and the always wild demolition derby. Plus rides, games, and more at the Greatest Midway, brought to you by Drew Expositions. Get your discount tickets now at 4hcomplex.org. The Hendricks County 4-H Fair, July 13th through 19th. A state fair experience at county fair prices.
Millions of Americans take medicine like Ozempic and Zepbound. Many of them are overpaying by thousands of dollars a year. These GLP-1 medications for diabetes, weight loss, and more may not always be covered by your insurance, but GoodRx can help. GoodRx helps you save every month on prescriptions at over 70,000 pharmacies nationwide. Best of all, it's free to use. Check GoodRx to save on GLP-1s. Just go to GoodRx.com/GLP. That's GoodRx.com/GLP. GoodRx is not insurance but can be used instead of insurance, including Medicare and other federal and state-funded programs.
The Attorney General's office wants to put your money back in your pocket. Visit indianaunclaimed.gov and search for yourself, your loved ones, or your business. It's fast, easy, and free.
Attention, Indiana homeowners. Are you tired of avoiding your wet basement? Hi, I'm Mike Smith with Swain Co. Crawl Space and Basement Repair, your real, local, Indiana family-owned experts. Imagine all the possibilities of a guaranteed dry basement. a cozy new family room, a home gym, or even a new office. And with no interest, no payment financing, you don't have to break the bank to do it. Make the most of your basement today. Call Swanco 317-407-1868 or swancollc.com.
This is Inside Indiana Business Radio. I'm Alex Brown. 4 installations created as part of the 2023 Exhibit Columbus exhibition will be sticking around longer than originally planned. Landmark Columbus Foundation Creative Director Jamie Goldsboro says the installations are now here to stay after going from temporary urban design experiments to part of everyday living in Columbus.
These are about improving our community, and we think if we do that well, others will want to know about it because we're teaching about the legacy of art and design. It's really about sharing the Columbus legacy with the world and kind of bettering our community.
Exhibit Columbus was created to recognize the city's public art and architecture, as well as to convince people to take in the city's downtown spaces. Ohio-based Keller Logistics Group has broken ground on a 150,000 square foot speculative warehouse building at the Grissom Aeroplex in Bunker Hill. The facility is being designed to serve tenants in the distribution, logistics, and manufacturing industries. Details of the financial investment in the project were not disclosed. Evansville is the latest Indiana community to implement a designated outdoor refreshment area, or DORA. The city launched its DORA on Friday, allowing individuals 21 years and older to purchase alcoholic beverages from approved establishments and carry them outside within the DORA's boundaries. From the #1 source for Indiana business news, this is Inside Indiana Business Radio.
Today, you either innovate or evaporate. We are accelerating the pursuit of progress. From the foods we eat to the heights we soar, because this is Indiana, the innovation capital of the world. We rally visionaries across industries, invest in connections as much as capital, and fuel our founders from dorm room to boardroom. Fuel your innovation with Elevate Ventures. Visit elevateventures.com.
Indianapolis entrepreneur Brian Schutt has been hired to lead Indiana's new Office of Entrepreneurship and Innovation, which was created by legislators with a mission of growing the state's economy by supporting small businesses. In his new position, Schutt will lead an office focused on supporting what are often called Main Street businesses, companies such as insurance or real estate agencies, home service companies, manufacturers, and non-venture-backed businesses that are not quickly scaled and operate in towns across the state. I'm Alex Brown for 93 WIBC.
Coming up in 2 minutes. That's all coming up after Fox News from the Technology Recycler Studios. A shooting over the weekend, you may remember. Updates on that coming soon. And what prosecutors are saying about opening fire. You're listening to 93 WIBC. WIBC HD1 Indianapolis at 6 o'clock.
Searching and grieving. I'm Tom Graham, Fox News. More wet weather could impact parts of central Texas. Following Friday's devastating flash flooding, at least 89 are dead. Several remain missing. Fox's Brooke Taylor in Kerrville.
The Guadalupe River rose 26 feet within just 45 minutes. So all of that happening within just an hour. Kids at a nearby camp say the water came up to the top of their bunk beds. They had no other